If a movie ever justified the use of robotic killing machines to guard a mall, it's this one. Jamie?
Okay.
Let's go watch Mannequin. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. We are an 80s movie podcast where every 2 weeks we watch a different movie from the 80s that has some sort of tie-in or relevance.
Right.
I don't know. We're reaching. But then we talk about the movie.
Right.
And we tell you, the listening audience, if it is worth watching. I'm one half of this podcast. My name is Doug McCambridge, and with me, as always, is Jamie Lorello.
Yes, sir.
Jamie, just during that intro, you put on at least 5 different pairs of sunglasses, and each one was sassier than the last.
They were sassy. They were sassy. What a personality. Hollywood.
Well, personality, a horrendous stereotype. I don't know how to characterize that individual, and he might not be the most confusing or...
Oh, he's definitely not the most confusing. No, there's a lot other confusing characters in this movie.
Know.
Like,
Did we just get into it?
All
like,
right. I mean, we could
we have
dance around the outside.
Yeah, we could. I mean, this is our post-Oscar episode.
Indeed.
Did you watch the Oscars? Did you see any of the movies? Do you have anything to say about the Oscars? Because I don't.
Yeah, no. We don't have to talk about the Oscars.
All right, great. Excellent. If it didn't happen in the 80s, we're not talking about it.
That's what I was just going to say. Are we talking about the Oscars? Because I remember watching the first Oscar ceremony that I watched the full thing, paid attention to it, was the 1988 Oscars.
Okay.
And it was the year that Dustin Hoffman won for Rain Man.
Okay.
And
And you threw something at the TV.
No. Isn't like the actors one of the last awards, not the last, but it's one of the last that they present. And I remember being like, I've made it this far. I can only go, it was a challenge. I was like 12 at the time, I think.
So it was like New Year's Eve to you. That was,
yeah, in a sense, yeah.
But it's bigger than New Year's Eve because you don't get off school the next day.
Exactly. I had to...
Like, you were up late. You had to get yourself out of bed.
Exactly.
Wow. And at that point, you were in what, like 4th grade?
No coffee for me. Yeah.
Wow. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's my Academy Award story. Okay. I don't know if you've got one.
I assume that year RoboCop won for Best Picture. Is that correct?
Best screenplay was best screenplay.
Okay. All right. Best scene where a man's hand explodes on screen.
Oh, jeez.
No, I have no Oscar stories. I think there was one year I kind of paid attention to the Oscars, I'm going to say from like the early to mid 90s to like 2000.
Okay.
And I think for one of those years, I was like, I'm going to watch every Best Picture. I'm going to go do it. And I did it, but I don't think it really mattered. Like, it must not have been a memorable experience. I don't even know what year it was. I don't know what the movies were. I don't think it informed my viewing, but now I don't.
Do you even watch?
No, I don't watch it. No. And there was the whole hoopla with the Best Picture.
Oh, yeah, the mishap. Mm-hmm. The hoopla.
But I'm so lazy. Like, I didn't even watch the clip. Like, I'm sure it's on nowadays. It's got to be on YouTube.
Exactly. If you miss it, it's out there.
I just like pieced it together in my mind from like little snippets.
And you were like, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with that talk.
I'm like, I guess Warren Beatty read it wrong. And then I was like, no, I think it was Faye Dunaway. Maybe Warren Beatty then jumped in and corrected her. No, wait, now there's a picture of some other guy. And this was like over the course of 3 days.
This is just you piecing together the photos that you see.
Without just reading or watching a 2-minute clip.
You didn't need to. Again, let your mind do that workout. Let your mind figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, you could do the whole Oscars in your mind then.
You know what my mind's not going to figure out? What happened in this movie and
anything
of importance happened.
No.
Because listeners, I think this is a pretty popular movie.
I think it is. I think it has a cult following, you know.
So I'm sure there's not a lot of people who have never seen it before, but if you're waiting to watch it, I think it's important that we do discuss, I'm sure we'll talk about it as we go, but I think it's important to say that the people who made this movie didn't give a fuck about answering any questions, explaining why she's a mannequin.
Yeah, there was no real reason given other than she didn't like her life in Egypt. I don't know.
So she was turned into a mannequin, I guess, but she appeared throughout history. Then later she wasn't a mannequin. None of this. And what does Andrew McCarthy do for a living at that mannequin shop? I have no idea. No idea.
He's a sculptor. He is a sculptor.
Wait, is that made clear? Because he literally pops arms and legs onto a mannequin and he tells his boss, he said, I could do 3 or 4 of these a month. And his boss goes, you should do 3 or 4 a day. All of those seem really low. Like, if you're just putting arms and legs on, you should do 87 of those a day?
Yeah, it should be a lot. You get a lot of smoke breaks at that factory. You get a long lunch. You get an extended 3-hour lunch.
Was it ever stated that he was a mannequin sculptor?
No.
Okay.
He wasn't a mannequin sculptor. He was a sculptor as an artiste. That's what he was.
He designed and carved this mannequin by hand?
Oh, yes. This mannequin, yes.
Wait, no. There's no way.
That's what you're meant to believe.
That's not how mannequins are made.
That's why he mentions how she is like, I made you. Like, he has that moment before she even ever becomes real. I think he's like...
But we need that scene. I need that scene of him like...
No, we don't.
Carving,
no, we don't.
Like, no. Just like he carves like the last eyelash and just blows the dust off of it. I'd be like, that's what he does. But no, he runs around with arms and legs singing songs.
I was going to say, I think that's what we're treated to. Well, wait. Before we get to... Because we want to do it in an order. Right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we got to follow this complex plot.
Please. Because before we even get to know Andrew McCarthy, Jonathan, as he's known, the sculptor, mannequin lover, we first meet. We have a little very cheesy Bad History Channel episode, right? Where we're meeting 2 Egyptian women.
Oh, it is terrible. That set is awful.
It's ridiculous. And what about how, so they're supposed to be these 2 ancient Egyptian women, right?
Yep, clearly.
She is a mummified princess who is not quite mummified yet.
No, she's
what's
hiding.
going on?
I thought she was
hiding with the mummies. That's what she is.
She's pretending to be a mummy.
Be a mummy, right. Her mother is more like a Jewish, like, she's like, oh my God.
I thought I was watching an episode of The Nanny at the beginning of this.
Why are you hiding? I mean, I want to smoke and tell your father to go to hell, but I don't.
Oh,
she's...
And it's weird because I was like, well, if this is the tone that this movie is setting... Very weird
I'm
okay with it. I just want it to keep going.
Well, it does. It has...
It has comes and goes.
Like these little sprinklings of these characters and these little scenes. Like even what's up with his girlfriend Roxy and the Greek guy that's always hitting on her
that she dates or her coworker.
Yeah. I don't know what he is, a boss or just a coworker, and is he Greek or Middle Eastern? Like, what is he?
That guy is the reason why people in offices now have sexual harassment lectures. That guy is the worst.
He's
but also the best
in many ways. Yeah. But okay, we're not even there yet. So we know that this Egyptian girl, this who is what's our actress's name? Who's
Kim Cattrall.
Kim Cattrall. Thank you. I don't know that her name. Oh, Emmy. Emmy is her mannequin name, right?
She did say her full Egyptian name once, but I don't remember it. But she shortens it to Emmy.
Oh, yeah, she does. Yeah, she does have a full, fancy Egyptian name.
I think it's important to say that not only does her mother have some, like, Brooklyn accent or whatever, like, these 2 do not look Egyptian at all.
No, not at all. No. It was, this is what we're treated to. And then after, so we realize she's unhappy. Being an Egyptian woman, she's got little means and resources, and
she doesn't want to get married, right?
She doesn't want to be confined to the lifestyle.
Exactly. Yeah.
She just, typical teenage kind of, I don't know. But then for our opening, we are treated to a lively cartoon.
Well, I do enjoy, before we get to the cartoon, I think it's important to talk about the fact that she prays to God, and they couldn't even do research to find out an Egyptian god.
No.
Just name like Anubis or something like that.
Right.
But they don't even do that, and then it's just a thunderstorm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thunder and lightning.
Yeah.
And you're right, we're treated to a great cartoon opening to this film, or credit sequence, which was a thing in the 80s. Like, they don't do that anymore, and I kind of miss them.
Yeah, I know, because it was like a fun little, it was like a pre-movie, like a pre-story, an animated story of like...
Mm-hmm. I mean, we got the entire story of how she got from Egypt to being a mannequin, kind of. There was some cats and a robot artist there. Well, I mean, that's when we see her cartoon, mingling with Christopher Columbus and stuff like that,
right,
too.
which she later tells us she dated. Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we get her background via this...
Yep, her backstory.
Yeah. Fun animated adventure. And then we're in modern day Philly, and we see our sculptor extraordinaire, who, like you said, instead of painting the last detail onto this mannequin who is his creation and becomes his muse, he's just dancing with it awkwardly, right? In the factory.
Dancing with it. The other guys who work there are having a blast too. It's
a fun factory to work in. Till the boss rolls in.
No. There's just like a billion arms and legs. It is a mannequin factory.
Yeah, it's just pieces of mannequins and guys just building it, really. Mm-hmm. In a scattered, not very organized looking way, I'll say.
No. It looks like there's about 3 dudes that work there, and they're in charge of making the mannequins for the entire United States. I don't really know.
The 2 local department stores, I think.
Well, I can't imagine every city has its own mannequin factory.
Well,
I do think it's interesting that the mannequin he makes appears like 2 blocks down.
Yeah.
It doesn't get shipped to Milwaukee or something like that.
It's a local manufacturer of mannequins. Well, he, though, isn't going to get to make mannequins for much longer because his productivity is low. Like you said, instead of making the 3 or 4 hour that he should be making, he makes 3 or 4 a month.
Yeah, again, his boss wants him to make 3 or 4 a day, which still seems low to me.
Yeah. Still,
that's when I just thought he was snapping arms and legs on things.
When you think about all the mannequins, like you said, those 2 both, we get to see the inside of both the local department stores, and they're huge. They have to need a lot of mannequins.
Well, yeah, but also, like, I feel like every mannequin kind of is the same. Like, if you just wander around department stores, other than arm positions, like, the bodies are all the same, right?
I don't know. I
haven't done the research. Maybe we should go out. Maybe let's stop this right now.
Let's just go to your local mall.
Check out some mannequins, and then we'll do this again.
All right, and then we'll figure out. Okay. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not going to do that.
This is where we stop. And then I'll just put something that's like 5 days later.
They're all very similar, except this particular one that he put a lot of love
into. Sculpting individual mannequins is not a real job.
Well, what happens next, though, is the series. So once he gets fired, our little Jonathan, our little hero, he takes on a series of odd jobs.
Yes.
He works at a birthday party as a balloon man and has a funny little happening where
he's dressed like an ice cream man too.
What about with the balloon man thing? When the kid gets the balloon from him, he wants the big balloon, and he gets the balloon, and then he floats away. Literally, the kid starts floating away because the balloon. It's like, are we still in the cartoon or are we in the movie now? What's happening?
I don't know.
What's happening?
There are. In a movie where a mannequin comes to life, I was like, this is the most unrealistic part of this movie, is that a single balloon can carry like a 8-year-old kid away. And he lets him go, too.
Yeah.
He's holding on to this kid's pant leg, and the kid's dad's like, let go! And he does. And this kid floats to, I assume, his death.
What are we being treated to? What are we being treated to?
I don't know. And each of his careers have nothing to do with creativity or art. I mean, you could make a case that sculpting mannequins is a creative endeavor, but he at one point is making pizzas.
Yeah, but making terrible ones but he is making art out of each of his jobs. Like he works, I guess, for like a landscaper, and he's trimming hedges. He works at the pizzeria, and he's making a fancy design, not just delicious pizza. The man is an artiste, and only Hollywood can see that. And I don't mean the place, I mean the character.
I could see some value in it. Like, that landscaper, he could be like, listen, nobody else that I'm hiring can do this. There is a place for this kid on this landscape. I'm going to call it a team. I know it's not a team.
Yeah, it could be a team.
You know, and I don't know, that pizza place, they could get some press, some much-needed publicity.
You're really trying to get this guy a different gig. Like,
I don't like what he ends up doing.
Well, he goes really quickly. He escalates within his business.
He's kind of in charge of a department store by the end of this movie.
Estelle Getty's the first one in charge of the apartment store, so that tells you that. He, believe it or not, even though he's obsessed with this mannequin and is sort of a cluster when it comes to holding down a job. Oh, yeah. He does have a girlfriend, right?
Let's just call her Power Suit Jane. Those suits that she's wearing, they're so bulky. They hang so low. It is a crazy style that I'm sure existed.
Yeah, very much so.
But because she's the only woman in this movie dressed like that, it seemed so...
It's a little off.
Like, when she is in, you know, her boss's office, like, conniving with these guys, I'm like, she's dressed just like them. Like, they're all wearing the same suit. Yeah. Yes.
She is a terrible actress. I don't know who she is, but
she's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty awful.
Yeah.
In a movie where everybody, I assume, was told, like, just go, just ratchet up whatever you're doing.
Whatever you are, just be there, yeah.
It's like she decided, I'm going to play this straight, and she does such a terrible job.
Yeah, she's some performances are easier than others to watch. Hers is a little bit sticky, along with her outfit. I agree.
Well, they constantly surround her with that weird serial rapist.
Yes,
so at least there's something else going on.
So he's asking to sleep with her. He's always with some weird... And again, I don't understand his addition to...
His job? Her job?
No.
What is their
job? To the whole movie. They work for... what is their job?
Clearly there for comic relief, as there's not enough of it.
Are they buyers for the...
Don't know.
The department store?
Don't know.
Because he picks her up, or Jonathan picks her up on his motorcycle for their date night. And she's outside of her work, which later we find out is something to do with the department store, I guess.
It's the rival... Does she work for the rival department store, or does she...
She must work.
I guess she does.
Yeah, I think she does. And I want to say in their sales... But
it doesn't matter.
None
of this is explained.
No.
The people who made this movie didn't care, so why should we?
Yeah, they didn't know the details. Why are we even thinking it over? Yeah, she's embarrassed by him. She thinks he should seek a professional. He says,
I want to know how these two got together, too. That's the other thing. These two should
How did they meet? How did they meet? I want that history.
How did they meet? What is their backstory? Yeah. I cannot see them carrying on a conversation for more than 2 minutes.
See, if we knew better even about what she did. Because he's this artist, right? So is her business I don't know.
And you don't have to do much. All you have to do is have her say something like, listen, when we were in art school together, that was fine. But I decided to drop that nonsense, that pipe dream. You need to get a job. Right. That's all you have to do. It's one line. Just put it in there at some point.
And it helps us all care a little more. Because I didn't. I didn't care about their relationship. I was like, I don't even think she likes him. Because she doesn't in the beginning. Or at all. She's upset that he doesn't have a job. No. She's.
They don't seem to like each other.
No, no. Although he does come to her. So, okay. He sees his mannequin girl. Because when he gets fired from the job, obviously he's disconnected from her.
Yes, and she's had enough of him at this point. She's like, listen, your motorcycle's a piece of garbage.
Oh, the girlfriend. Yeah, the girlfriend.
I gotta go. I need a break. You're a loser. Get a real job. Whatever she says to him.
Yeah.
So, then he sees his mannequin when he's alone.
Right. He walks off in the rainy night.
Yeah.
He's kind of like,
And this is when he professes his love or creative,
this is when he says, like, do you know I've created you and I'm so...
He is too...
invested in a mannequin?
Good looking and normal a guy to play this role. Like, this is a role that should be played by, like, a total weirdo.
Yeah.
And somebody who can't relate to real people. Yeah, I think that if somebody awkward and weird and they're fumbling and this is but no, like, he has a girlfriend who seems like a normal dude. Like,
well, that's how they're presenting him. If they had not even given us the Roxy character and we just saw him, like, going home and, like, sketching things and like trying to mold shit and he can't and all he thinks, well, that would make me feel like, yes, he's got a weird obsession for this mannequin.
Can we talk about how great his apartment is?
I was gonna say, what a great apartment. I did take note of that too. It's like
huge.
I
know he's not in Manhattan, but if you're in any relatively large city, that is pricey.
It was a great size. It was a great layout.
Open space. Enormous.
Listen to us. We're both,
and we only see it from one seat. But
still,
I really took note.
I took note of it too. I was like, hello, what a great apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Good stuff there. I wish we saw more of that even. Take the mannequin back to your place. I don't know. How did he leave the factory without her, right?
Well,
when
that's
he was
the thing.
fired.
She even says something like, I can't leave the store. And they get on this motorcycle and drive away at one point. I'm like, didn't she say she can't leave the store? And just take her to your apartment. Like, if somebody sees you walking up to your apartment with a mannequin, they might think it's weird. But at least then you could talk to her. Like, they just seem to drive around.
And then just go back to the store.
Oh, my God. This movie. Andrew McCarthy.
I do like
Jesus,
when he
man.
puts her on the back of it. Okay. It's like him with this mannequin. I do like when he. Oh, okay. We gotta get there. First, he meets. Okay, so he sees that the mannequin girl still exists. He sees that she's at this mall. Does he go back to the mall then the next day, right, or the department store that she's at?
Yes, because he's oddly obsessed with this mannequin. Like it's. This is weird. This is silly. Something that a deranged lunatic.
Well, he does. Later on, he questions his sanity. He asks Roxy, "Am I crazy?"
Very briefly.
He calls his mom.
If a mannequin came to life when only you were around, I don't think it would be one brief instance where you're like, maybe I'm crazy. I would assume that you would have to sit down and really think about this for long periods of time. He seems to accept that she's totally real in no time.
He does.
He's not crazy. He's totally sane. He's just the only one who can see her. When anybody else is around, she's a mannequin again. And he thinks that that's normal.
And he doesn't ever ask, does he ever ask where she came from? Like, does he know the Egyptian history?
No.
No.
Why does that matter, Jamie? It doesn't matter at all. That happened before the credits. Who cares now?
Oh, my God.
I mean, she's clearly speaking English. You would not assume that she's from Egypt.
She does throw down that she... Oh, no, because she does mention at one point... She mentions the Christopher Columbus. And then I think she mentions that she was supposed to marry a camel dung dealer.
Oh.
Remember?
You're right, yes. I do like for the brief instant where she does the cliched Egyptian dance where she just puts her hands together over her head for just a second.
Was that in the weird dance number that they have? That weird,
yes,
like...
it is. Love that.
No, I don't. I don't at all. All right. Gosh, we're sloppy with the where I am. I guess I'm taking it.
It's
through.
okay. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's muddled. It's all a muddled mannequin mess. Well, I want us to meet Estelle Getty.
Okay. All right. So this is when this happens.
This is when this happens. Exactly. So it's.
She's okay. So before we talk about how they meet, she runs a failing department store.
Yes, she's inherited it, is what we're, right?
Right, yes.
And she's out in front of it, and there's a sign being fixed. Signed, I guess, for the store. And as it starts to swing, because it's being fixed, it's like a gigantic sign.
It's huge.
It catches Andrew McCarthy in its swing, right?
Right. Well, he saves her.
Right. He gets her out of the way, because it's headed toward her.
And then he's hit by the sign, but not really. It's kind of just like
he just rides to ride this. I was like, what? First, I was like, "Oh, it's Estelle Getty." I keep tripping on her name.
Why, you're having a hard time saying
Estelle Getty. I think I don't know. First, I was excited to see her. I was like, "Oh yeah."
Should you just call her Sophia Petrello?
Can we? I'll just call her Sophia.
Yes, definitely.
We see a young Sophia, right? It's Sicily, like 1926, right?
Right.
And yeah, I was so excited to see her, and then the next thing I know, he is swinging on a sign.
He just rides a sign. He rides a sign for a good, 20 minutes in this movie?
It's quite a long time. It is quite a long time.
He's talking to her as he's swinging
because
by
she is so thankful. She's like, "You're so wonderful." And he's swinging by her. "I'd like to offer you a job." And he's like, It's ridiculous. By the way, I do love Sophia Petrello, but she is not very good in this movie.
Oh, thank you for saying so, because I was going to say she has no time for this movie.
No.
She is like, this is an inconvenience. I'm not going to project. I'm not going to act. I'm going to show up and I'm going to just.
She barely makes eye contact with the other actors.
Wow.
She's just like. It's like she's practicing her like lines at home in her mirror, like. And
it was almost, it seemed like one of those things where she's like, "Oh, my nephew is working on this movie. I have to do him a favor.
Right.
I have to show up." And when she went, she did not think it was as big a role as it is, and she is angry about this.
Yeah. She's like, "Really? Because he's in love, folks. Did we read the script? A mannequin. The boy loves a mannequin."
I love how we're talking about her and his girlfriend, who are not doing a good job in this movie. James Spader is crushing his role in this movie.
What is he? He is such a character.
It is the weirdest role. Why would he take this role and then give it 110%?
Well, I want to know if this role was just like written as like a simple, like if he brought this next piece to it. Like, did he bring those glasses and did he decide
that haircut? It's just slicked straight down. And again, the last time we saw him, it was in Less Than Zero,
he was pushing drugs.
Could not be. This character is just as slimy, but such a different character.
Such a different character.
He's got range, I have to say. Andrew McCarthy shows up and does his best Andrew McCarthy.
Same Andrew McCarthy, yeah.
But James Spader, he is a chameleon, let's say. He is really good in this role.
He brought something to it, I'll tell you. I agree. He did. But what is his job? He's the advisor to the department store? Like, what is his job? So he works for Estelle Getty.
He's a mole. Clearly,
well, yeah, but
or else he's on the take, for the other department store. But he's there basically to make sure that this department store doesn't make any money, so that they have to sell.
Yeah, but that's not why she hired him, right? Doesn't he work for?
But I assume he was there before she took over.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
And it was always his ploy to take them down?
I don't know. We're not given this backstory either. No. Like, we're not told, like, he was really good friends with the old owner and the old owner died and he decided, okay, that's it. Let's sell out. Let's just... Nothing is explained. But, yeah, he's in charge of basically tanking this store.
Okay.
I mean, he's in charge of running the store, but he is tanking the store.
His goal is to have the store go down.
Exactly.
Right? So that it could be bought out by this rival store.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. He has to give a job to Andrew McCarthy, though. So what job do they, because they don't give him the window display job. They give him because he stumbles upon that.
Boxes of shoes.
That's what,
at one point he opens it up and it's women's underwear.
Well, and he gets in trouble right? Because he calls his girlfriend at some point and they're like, "Oh, do you have the women's underwear?" Right? Yeah. This is also when I think, so he calls her at work and that's when she's at work. So we meet her creepy coworker.
Sexually aggressive coworker. I did not look this guy up. I want to know what else he did after this movie.
I don't know. He's a slime ball. Like he just makes all these weird advances at her, and even that she's like, Stop it! She's just like kind of.
And what I really like is now he goes and when he gets free time, it seems that he's visiting his mannequin.
Mm-hmm.
So this is when we're introduced to Hollywood.
Hollywood Montrose. Mm-hmm.
Hollywood just appears. He's just not introduced. He doesn't walk on set. It's just he's talking to this mannequin. Hollywood is just there. And did you notice that his outfit is matching the lights of the window display?
No,
his outfit is blue and yellow, and the lights are blue and yellow.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
And then I meant to really pay attention to see if his outfit just kept matching the lighting, but I forgot to look after this.
Well, he does wear some pretty outstanding outfits, I guess.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, all right.
I don't know. Is it outstanding or is it terribly offensive?
A little bit of
both.
Did
not know how to feel about this.
How about outstandingly offensive? How about that?
Because this was a time when I guess Hollywood did not Hollywood the individual, Hollywood the town, didn't know how to write gay characters. Is that a fair assessment? Or am I being nice to the industry?
I would say it's pretty fair. Do they even call him? I think at one point later on he's in the restroom.
Right.
And don't they call him a queer, or they say
it is all over the place because they call him a Mary.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
I think the security guard refers to him as a fruitcake a couple of times.
Yeah.
So they're not treating this character well.
Right. But he's happy. It doesn't matter to Hollywood. He's just happy he loves his job, and he starts to kind of love Jonathan, right? They become...
he's another creative type.
Yeah.
He finds this kindred spirit because he was talking to a mannequin.
Yeah, he thinks that's totally cool. He's an artiste. This is part of his kind of artist ways, he feels like, right?
And again, just like James Spader, Meshach Taylor is murdering this role.
Yes.
Every time he's on screen,
it lights it up. It lights it up. No, I agree. It's fun.
I was going to say captivated, but I didn't know if that was too strong of a term.
You can be captivated by Hollywood.
For anything about this movie.
Yeah, and all of his, I can't even do all of his little weird squeals.
And his glasses.
Yeah.
I love it when he shows up in a suit, but it has the price tag on it, so he just took it from the men's department.
Yes. But just as quickly as Hollywood appears, he sort of disappears, right? We're introduced to Hollywood. We get to know, we get a little flair. Hollywood does a little kind of check out my legs, look at my donut thighs.
Is this offensive? I mean, I don't mean to struggle with this because this is 1987.
Yeah.
So, I think it's tough to watch a character like that now and to think this is okay. Because it's not okay, is it?
I think for the purposes of this movie, it's fun.
Okay.
I think he was the fun character. He provided the besides the terrible acting by everybody else, he provided the comic relief, the most comic relief. And it was supposed to be more fun. It comes off sort of offensive when you think about it, but I don't think we're meant to think a whole lot if we're watching Mannequin. How's that sound?
Wait, we're not? Okay, all right. I will suspend
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. When he disappears, all of a sudden, oh my God, the mannequin becomes a real person. Just like that. Just like that. He's not having a moment with her. He's not, right? He's there.
He's not even talking to her at this point. He's turned around and he's talking to himself. And she crouches down and responds to him. And he flips out.
I would too.
It's a person.
And she's dressed in a pink dress, right? Very, very pink dress.
Yeah, whatever the mannequin was wearing, sure. Yeah.
And she is ready. She's like, yeah, I'm here now. So I'm ready for fun.
For what purpose? We don't know. Mm-mm. She doesn't explain. Mm-mm. It's never explained. Nope. It is never made clear
what the hell?
Why she comes to life. Mm-hmm. I guess throughout history, she has been the muse to very famous and important people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I guess we are meant to assume that he is going to become something great?
No.
It can't just be so that he is in charge of creating window displays for a department store in Philadelphia.
He's like, by the end, he keeps getting so many promotions because that he's like practically in charge of the mall, or of the store.
But still, it's not like Columbus is famous because he was in charge of like a boat and that was it. Like,
but again, maybe you got to keep it small. This is the 80s. I don't know. I don't know.
But also, she's only referring, she's only talking about these two people. I think she really does only talk about Michelangelo and Columbus, right?
Well, that's the one she talks about, but we don't know. She's been through history.
But that's what I mean. She could be influencing people on all sorts of levels throughout history. Yeah. Okay. And is she going to die at the end? Or is she, is she going to age like he does?
Oh.
Does this break the curse? Or is she at some point going to become a mannequin again? And has she become a mannequin all through history? Like, will she get Columbus Mannequin?
You have a lot of questions. You have so many questions that this movie does not answer. This movie doesn't even try to answer any of these questions.
Like, she should have said something like, I was a Michelangelo painting and I came to life. And then I don't know how you tie Columbus into that, but that's what it should be. Their creations come to life. That would make so much more sense.
That would.
Because if this Egyptian god teleported her out of there, what happened to her?
Does this movie help?
It's just like Xanadu.
I was going to say, does it help Xanadu make more sense, though? Because they explain some of this stuff in Xanadu a little better. Because, again, the gods, they spoke to the Olivia Newton-John throughout it. So you saw that Olivia Newton-John came out of the one painting. So you had more, when I thought about recommendations, I didn't think to recommend, I wouldn't recommend Xanadu, but I would say that it's very much he would. Well, it was funny because before we watched this, he's like, oh, Mannequin, I love that movie. Hollywood. I was like, and then afterwards I was like, do you just movies about
your husband has a type, like a weird movie type. Wow.
Yeah. I was like,
I don't know. So, I don't even know how to respond to that because I'm trying to think, was Xanadu better?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Well, I think it was.
If you took certain characters from these movies and just morphed them into a singular movie, I'd like that.
He's like, I'd watch that.
I would take Olivia Newton-John over Kim Cattrall.
I'll tell you.
You put Hollywood in there?
Yeah, and you mix if you throw Hollywood with Gene Kelly, how fun!
You know what? Get rid of Sophia Petrillo and put Gene Kelly in that role. This is actually so much better. Keep James Spader; he's great.
James Spader's fine; he could just stay. And the musical numbers, the musical number in this movie, if you even call it that, I guess it was more like a musical montage that ends up happening because it's not really dancing. Just like Olivia Newton-John's not really skating, but I would take their dance numbers. I
don't know. I'd say I'd have to watch Xanadu again, but I'm not willing to do that. I've forgotten it. We watched Xanadu a while ago. That movie's already gone.
It's gone
I've forgotten most of it.
You've deleted it from your
I think Mannequin pushed it out. Mannequin was like, we're basically the same, and it pushed it out of my brain.
That's what happened. Mannequin's like, now I'm stepping up. Well, I don't know if it's a step up or a side step. But anyway, people love his window displays.
Well, here's another question. Is she doing this?
They are together. So they have these, when she comes alive, part of the fun of what they do together is, when she first comes alive. They dance around
the mall?
She takes her around the mall. She takes him around the mall, and she does now that we don't even see like a side boob or anything. She gets naked, doesn't she? She takes him around the mall and she kind of strips down and is like...
Well, yeah, it starts with sort of just trying on outfits.
Right.
And they're both doing it. They're both wearing
different outfits. Yeah, it's really weird.
But you're right. Yeah, at one point, I forget, she opens a big fur coat or something. Well, at one point she opens a fur coat and she has like lingerie on.
No, but when they first meet and they're...
Yeah.
I felt like she did.
Just takes off, right, because you just see her from the back.
Right,
like you just see like bare shoulders or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very embarrassed, and he's like, "Why are you?" Oh, and she's like, "You weren't embarrassed when I was a mannequin."
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you weren't embarrassed when you made
be.
me, and he was like, "Well, I put so much work into the details, and oh, jeez,
it's embarrassing." Andrew McCarthy is embarrassing. I'm sorry to anyone who likes Andrew McCarthy,
I
but
agree.
my God, I think this was his most tolerable performance of what we've seen, but. I don't see how was it just an experiment that he was a leading man for a little bit? Like,
no, I think because he has maybe because he's not like, to me, he doesn't read as like a hot leading man, like gorgeous.
Right, yes.
But he's got like this likable adorableness, I guess, to his look.
But that should be like the sidekick or the best friend of the male protagonist.
Yeah.
He should not carry a movie.
No, he shouldn't carry the mannequin around, but he does. He takes her places.
He shouldn't have sex with the mannequin, but he does.
He does. Well, that's later. Wait, okay. All right. So we
haven't even talked about the security guard.
Oh yet. Yeah, he's from Police Academy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the chief in Police Academy.
Yeah. And that dog is the cutest dog.
Rambo.
He's like a bulldog kind of thing. I wrote that down 3 times in my notes. I'll tell you what kind of notes I took about Mannequin. I'm like, this dog is so cute. Rocky is so cute. Or what's
It's Rambo.
Rambo is so cute.
I like it when he's just pulling Rambo around in a wagon after a while, because the dog loses its mind because it sees, I guess, a mannequin turn into a woman and back again. Other than Jonathan, the dog is the only one that sees this, and it runs in terror. And then it's got like a hot water bottle on its head. And then it has to be pulled around in a wagon. And later the security guard's then at a different mall, and he has a different dog. And I'm like, what happened to Rambo?
Rambo's gone, and he has like a new Saint Bernard or something, right?
This poor dog lost its mind. But I don't think a dog can process that information. Like, that a mannequin turned into a person. Would that really upset a dog?
I guess. Well, I think what was more upsetting, didn't the dog also witness? Because later is when they're tumbling together, and the mannequin is on. So only Jonathan can see the mannequin. So when other people approach them or other people are near them, she turns back into a mannequin. She's not a person. So when the security guard catches him kind of romping around with her, he's just laying on the floor with like a mannequin like on top of him, and doesn't try to lift it off of him. He stays with like. Mannequin on top, yeah.
And I think it's important. Okay, fine. We're flying through. We're jumping all around, but I don't think we really need to, pay too much attention to the chronology of this. But so he makes a window display, and it's really great. Mm-hmm. It's amazing, and I don't know which one's the first one. Do you know?
The tennis one.
The tennis one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and he gets a promotion because of this.
Yes.
And they decide to postpone the sale of the store
because people were coming to see this window. It would
people were coming to see the window, and maybe that will translate to people in the store. It never does. This store is dead,
empty.
Even when they're like, "We're making great money." It's like they couldn't hire enough extras. This mall is always empty.
True.
I'm like, there is still nobody in this mall,
right?
Or department store. But you're right in that he and Emmy make these displays. But really what they do is just prance around the mall and have fun all night.
Yeah. And then eventually they put something together. Now, are you supposed to think, because here's the thing. Here's one problem I have with this all. Isn't it Hollywood's job?
He basically took Hollywood's job.
And does it a lot better because he does it with the mannequin who comes a lot.
And Hollywood does not seem upset by this.
No, he doesn't care. He's just happy to have another artist among him.
He does eventually at one point sort of break down. He's like, I need to work with you.
Yeah.
I need to. So I assume like there's one display every day that's great, and then the garbage ones that Hollywood put together. And they must be working completely separate because he and this mannequin go all around this mall. Mm-hmm. They never run into Hollywood. Like one time Hollywood walks in when she's a mannequin, she's dancing and she's like crouched down the ground.
Oh yeah, she does that like weird crouchy. And then there is a time when Hollywood is doing something and behind him, they're like skating behind him.
Uh-huh. Yes. Well, that's when he has to change his glasses because...
Oh, yeah.
He thinks that the glasses are responsible for him seeing things. And he looks so satisfied. He puts on the other pair of glasses, which are way crazier than the ones he had on. And he just smiles and just goes back to his work.
All right, that's all I needed. Yeah, they don't work.
Great. Do you think that the people who did Designing Women called me Shaq Taylor and they were like, listen, we got a role for you on Designing Women. Basically, it's Hollywood, but like tone it down like 180%. His character on Designing Women was gay, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And it's funny to think that Designing Women is more progressive than Mannequin with the way that they handled gay characters.
Yeah, or the way they handled Mannequin.
And what's with all the different transitions and scene wipes in this movie? Every time we transition from one scene to another, big holes come out, or the scene flips or it's like a weird Star Wars swipe every single time.
It's cheesy. I don't know how you would, because even again, when we do see the other, like the sexually abusive coworker, and
I don't know if he's abusive. Jeez, let's call him aggressive.
Aggressive. I think I'm gonna go right there and call him abusive. I don't know. It's all so hokey like. It's all just got this weird like. So I guess you guys were going for comedy, for real oddball-y comedy, and it just came off maybe then as the oddball comedy, but now it kind of comes off as just bad, just bad acting and bad.
It's just badly written because you're right. At the same time that he's rolling around with this mannequin and the security guard discovers him, his girlfriend and her coworker are taking pictures. Remember they break into the mall?
They break in, right.
And the whole time they're sneaking through this mall, he's just making the most offensive, like, sexual advances on this woman. Yeah. And I'm like, you guys are like on a covert operation to just get pictures.
Right.
You probably said enough to her in the office today. You don't need to keep it going.
And again, how do they work together? What is so they are
And how'd they get into this mall? They just walked right in.
Yeah, I guess they did. Yeah.
You know what this mall needs, Jamie? It needs robots. This security guard is not doing his job.
Robots would kill. Then robots would kill the mannequin. It would kill.
I thought the idea of chopping mall was absurd until I saw
you saw the nonsense that could happen after hours at a department store. You were like, exactly. Wait a minute. We do need to get some robots up in here. Wait, did we talk? Well, we kind of talked about the weird. We've kind of kept talking about. I guess there's no more details we need to tell about the dance number that they do.
You can tell as many details as you want. At one point, he's like,
he's got a Tommy gun on him.
It's like a Phantom of the Opera thing at one point too.
It's their second night together, or it's their.
It has to be. This cannot be the first night. There's just way too much packed into this. But you're right. They do. They dance around. They're in costumes. He has a Tommy gun.
Yeah, and it's not really a dance. Like, they start out kind of dancing, but then it's just more like this musical montage of, like, them playing dress up, right? Mm-hmm. What are they doing?
I don't know. And they do not take full advantage of this store either. Like, they're in the music store and then they try on outfits, and at one point, aren't they in a sporting goods store? I think he fights with somebody there. The security guard later.
Oh, yeah.
But they should be in a toy store. Like, they should be on, like, one of those big pianos, like in
Oh, yeah. Just messing around. How fun would that be?
Right.
But no, they're just kind of doing their own.
They're just trying on outfits and they're just dancing.
To terrible music. Music in this movie is pretty terrible.
It's very uninspired. Like, it's just...
It goes on for way too long.
We have an entire department store. What do they do? Try on outfits. What else? Yeah. I don't know. It's lunchtime. Who cares? We don't need to write anymore, right?
They don't... You would think they would write... Yeah, no. Like, you don't... Or have cutesier moments together. Like, I don't even really care about their relationship.
No. They don't really have a relationship. He made her... She came to life.
They dress each
He's
other up.
He's amazed by that. Mm-hmm. She doesn't, like, she's not a living human to anybody else.
Mm-mm. When does she tell him? Isn't there a moment when she looks at him and, because she's like, yeah, nobody else can see me.
Yeah.
And he's like.
It's this weird, like, perverted male fantasy. Like, there's this woman that is only for me. Nobody else can have her. She's kind of just there to have sex with him, and that's it. Like, during the day, I don't have to worry about that woman.
No, she's as confident. Like, he talks to her. He tells her.
I know, and I'm just simplifying.
I know.
Well, I just think the idea of her getting into this because she didn't want to be married.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. And now she's just
made into an object.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the way to get out of it is to get married. Like, it is such a weird backwards message that
it's a
maybe
weird...
there was good intentions, but it's just completely subverted. Like, I don't know.
I totally agree. I don't know what... Did we talk about yet when does it happen? So she mentions... to him, and I think maybe she talks about it in the very beginning when she's in Egypt. She created flight, or was very interested in the idea of flying and flight, right? She made wings, maybe, when she was in Egypt.
But I don't know if that was being alluded to or not when she gets in the hang glider. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, yeah. When she hang glides down through the center of the department store, and she's like, "Oh, I'm flying!"
She's amazed by this. She loves it. And I love when the security guard looks and he's just a mannequin.
That's what I mean. I love when she's doing things as a person and other people see her. And then when they see her, like when he takes her for a ride on the back of the motorcycle and he's like, come on, let's go for a ride. She's like, outside? And he's like, yeah. And then he runs into people and they're like, you have a mannequin on the back of your motorcycle.
It's so great too. Because I was like, well, when she becomes a mannequin, does she just like blink out of consciousness and then like come to then when she's a person?
Right.
She's in like a different place or something.
No, she like, just, because she freezes too, like you said, when Hollywood comes in on her. And they were dancing. That's why she's frozen like that ninja move, because she mannequins kind of as she is.
Oh. Hang glides. She hang glides in the mall. It's and I like after she hang glides, she gets off and she's like, I can't believe I just flew, and she faints.
Oh,
she passes. This is a woman who was a mannequin and traveled through time and this little bit of floating, I guess, was way too much.
Was enough. It was a lot. She was that. Maybe this is when she realizes she's in love with, because he gives her that sense of light.
This is when they sit down and they like have a heart to heart, and they're like talking about their future together and stuff.
Oh, is this when they're laying together though?
Oh my God, yes. And I'm like, Andrew McCarthy, she's a mannequin.
About having kids.
Talking about it. Yeah, she's like, are our kids gonna be puppets or dummies or whatever he says? I'm like, this is a disturbing conversation or even thoughts to be having.
Oh my God. Because we go back and forth between our characters, which we didn't formally introduce, but the security guard he's hired. Well, he's the security guard, but they want the security guard obviously to keep an eye on, because people are suspicious. He's doing a great job with all these windows. They know it's happening. He's working through the night on them. But these popular windows are keeping the whole department store afloat, which obviously the rival department store, which includes Roxy and James Spader. Roxy, the ex-girlfriend, James Spader.
It is funny, too, because we could talk about that, but anytime we cut to the villains it's kind of just the same scene over
Agreed.
and over and over again. Just them talking about, how is he doing this? I don't know. Who is this guy? Keep an eye on him. That's it. That's it. And James Spader's still great, but every one of his scenes is like that.
Yeah, no,
Except
I agree.
the scene where he runs down the steps and his hair moves and then he licks his hands and slicks it back down as he's running down the steps. And also, it was a really weird part of the movie because they're running down the steps, he, the security guard, and a woman walks up the steps and they kind of knock her over. And James Spader stops and looks back at the woman and like thinks about helping her, but then he turns around and keeps running. It's a weird choice by him to do that, but I loved it.
You do love, I would say that he is your favorite character in this movie.
I think he is. Yeah. I mean, and in a movie with Hollywood, that's saying something.
Yeah, that's saying something. That's good job on Spader. Good job, Spades. Okay, I'm just checking my notes because you don't want to miss any kind of...
I don't want to. Oh my god, I could talk about James Spader all day, but I'm so perplexed by why he's in this movie. Like, I can only imagine his agent was probably like, "Listen, you do know that you're like the 5th most important person in this movie, right? Like, you are a big act. You don't have to do this."
And he played it with his whole heart. Yeah.
All right,
please,
okay, we can
let me embrace it. No, he does. He really does. He does a knockout performance for this.
And I did say last week or last time we did this, I had never seen this before. This was the first time I'd ever seen this.
Oh, this was your first time.
And I had no idea he was in this movie. Like I knew, nothing really surprised me. Like I was like, oh yeah, I guess I kind of knew the guy from Police Academy was in this, and I knew the 2 leads, and I knew Hollywood, and I was like, oh, Estelle Getty's in this too, and I was very disappointed. But I had no idea James Spader was in this movie, and I think maybe that was part of it.
It was a nice surprise for you then, maybe. Maybe that was part of it.
Oh, it was more than a nice surprise. It's what got me through this thing.
Oh, my goodness. Are we through this thing yet? No.
Well, no. So is this when he wakes up? No. They have sex later. All right.
When he wakes up in the pile of fur?
Yeah. What?
No, I don't think.
No. But this is after the hang gliding. Sorry, I don't mean to jump in.
No, you're fine. After flies.
After the hang gliding, Estelle Getty loses her shit and fires Spader and fires the security guard. Like she comes in and fires everybody. That is enough. And I assume, is Jonathan then promoted to the role that James Spader had in the company?
I think so. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's even his role.
Well, he's like vice president of the mall.
Yeah, he gets promoted to vice president.
Yeah. And I do like how they do show, for the only time in this movie, a local paper, and he has there's an article about his window displays in this local paper.
Because he keeps doing them, and
at first I was like, that wouldn't happen in a local paper, but then I'm like, yeah, like the arts and entertainment section, they really have that.
Department store window guy.
Right, yeah. And his window displays are pretty good. Like the one of the biking and stuff. Like
Yeah, you're into him.
Which is crazy. Like these in this dumb movie should not be things I'm looking at going, that's a really good idea.
Well, I wonder if though that isn't, I mean, I don't know because I don't know enough about it. I have seen I know that window displays, people go nuts for them. And in the cities, like you're saying. But I guess it would be sort of this art form of sorts.
Sure.
That you do. I wish we would have saw even a little more of that then. A little more of the making of these window displays.
Because we see no making of.
No.
Because at one point he's like, oh, I had a great idea. We need these supplies. And then they run around the mall grabbing nonsense. And the next thing you know, there are mannequins on bikes. I'm like, what?
How did that get to that? Yeah.
I mean, not that I want this movie to be longer. I mean, 90 minutes is enough, but...
It was enough, yeah, I agree.
Maybe you could cut out the Egyptian scene? Like, if we're not going to answer this...
No, then we don't have her back history. We don't know where she came from.
It's in the opening credits.
I guess the credits would be... That's true. That's true. Just enough.
Because I even thought, like, when the opening credits started and she was an Egyptian, I was like, oh my God, are they going to explain the whole movie in cartoon during the opening credits?
Wouldn't that be amazing?
But they didn't. All right.
Wish they would have.
Oh, we can talk about him taking the mannequin into the ladies' room.
Into the ladies' room. Yes.
Love it.
Love it. He makes these two women either come out or wait outside while he goes in.
Uh-huh.
Because he can't talk to her. He wants to talk to her, right?
Yep. Yeah, because he got his big promotion.
Right.
Who's he going to tell? He's got no one else in his life.
So that's going to be excited for him.
Right.
And he starts making out with her, right? In the...
It's pretty funny. I kind of thought it was funny because all the ladies, because you know how ladies like to gossip, all the ladies from this store crowd around and listen. They're like, he's in there talking to his mannequin, but clearly he's in there talking, and a woman is responding.
Yeah, you can hear the woman's voice. Yeah, and nobody's like, that's fucked up.
Do they think he's doing this voice?
Talking in the voice? I don't know. Yeah, because you could hear her even earlier when the security guy, when people are following them around the mall, and the Roxy girl and her cohort guy there, when they follow him around the mall and they try to spy on him, you can hear him with someone else. You can hear a woman laughing. You can hear
definitely.
So you're like, what is happening?
Definitely.
But yeah, he's in the bathroom. And I love it then when Hollywood is like, kind of calls the women out on being little bitties and then charges in too to kind of be like, you know, congratulations. And this is when he asked to be a part of it, right?
Exactly. He's like, you have to show me how you work. You have to work with me. And he even says to him, listen, Hollywood, I'm vice president now. Don't worry about your job. You're fine. You always have a job here. But Hollywood wants to know how he does it.
He wants the magic. Yeah.
And I get it. He's probably been there for years and has
it's Hollywood's job to do these things. And someone else is doing them much better. He's like, wait a minute. Well, you just made the dummy. How are you now in charge of? How are you the vice president?
I do love how accepting Hollywood is of this guy's weird fetish with this one singular mannequin.
Because when he walks in, this is when Andrew McCarthy is making out with the mannequin. So when they freeze,
I wish James Spader played both roles, the bad guy and the Andrew McCarthy part.
And I think he could pull it off.
He could do it.
Some acting chops. I think he could. No, he even says Hollywood is like, so the Illustra, I think, is the name of the other department store, Illustra, right? And they decide that they have to steal all the mannequins. That's what it is. If it's the mannequins, that's the thing, and there's mannequins that this guy needs to work with, they will steal all the mannequins.
Right.
That's what they'll do, right?
Yes, because James Spader and the security guard both went to the other department store and now have jobs there.
Right. Why does he? This is when he rides off with her. This is when the security guard chases. Don't they do the chase? There's a car chase. So yeah, the security guard and Spader team up. Now they're supposed to be inside the mall finding the mannequin. Well, right? For some reason they're in the security guy's car,
you know what?
Right?
I feel like that's a different scene later when they steal the mannequins.
No, they're not stealing the mannequins just yet. I think they're trying to put together a plan.
All right.
And they're in the car deciding like what they're going to do. And then I keep doing that. Jonathan, Andrew McCarthy, goes off on his motorcycle with his mannequin on the back. This is when he decides to take her for a joyride.
He's just whooping it up. He's stopping at everybody that he sees and introducing this mannequin. Introducing to this mannequin to the girl that he's dating.
And she says her name backward first, right?
Yeah. And the mannequin does flip them off, which is great.
Yeah. When the mannequin does
giving them the finger as a mannequin.
They ride through the city. They make out.
It's so weird. It's so
weird. Is this
weird.
when they have sex?
Well, why is there a car chase in this movie? We don't need an elaborate car chase.
I know.
And a pretty good ending where the car becomes suspended between two buildings as it jumps.
Yeah.
That's pretty good and elaborate and smart for a movie that does not need this at all. You're right. This is when he has sex with a mannequin, and they have sex all over the place because they're having sex.
They're in the outdoor place.
They're in a hammock. He wakes up inside of a
piles
bear.
of fur. Yeah, there are piles of fur that he wakes up in.
And there are people surrounding him.
And just watching him sleep,
and applauding.
Right?
Oh, they applaud when he wakes up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yay, you slept naked in a mall. Are these customers?
I don't know if they've become fans because now that people are like his work, maybe. And
but
again,
why are
like
they applauding?
maybe because I think
did they make another window display that night?
No, but I don't know if they think this is like he's an artist and this is maybe another.
It's like performance art or something.
I guess so, but he's really just naked and it's weird how asleep he was, but she's gone. She's been stolen, right?
People sleep a lot. When that security guard gets hit with a hang glider,
he falls asleep forever.
The mall has opened. There are people there. Estelle Getty has shown up, and they have to slap him to wake him up.
That's why he gets fired. That's right.
Oh my God! But this is when he was asleep. This is when James Spader and the security guards steal. They do make a point to say, let's just take all the female mannequins. The very next thing, we see female mannequins in the window of the store.
Yes, they do. I know. They mentioned that they took all of them, but then we see the display, and there's 5 in the display.
Yeah, exactly.
But they look, I like it too, how they're looking in the I think James Spader even says to him, were you dropped on your face as a baby? What did he say to him? Were you, did you ever jump out of a plane and land on your face?
Yes.
I think is what he
says. The security guard's response is, yes, why? Because
the security guard is the only one that has seen the mannequin before, so he's in charge of trying to figure out which one he is, and he can't. He keeps looking at all the mannequins, so that's why they decide we'll just take all the female mannequins except for the 17 they need for display.
Right, because Jamie, all female mannequins look the same. It's pretty clear.
Well, after our experiment where we went to the mall and figured that out ourselves, true. So they've got all the mannequins, and for some reason, in this department store, there is a giant shredder.
Don't question it, Jamie. It's a mannequin shredder. Don't all malls have those? So hold on, wait a second. So first of all, Jonathan teams up with Hollywood, and they get in his pink Cadillac, which there is a sped up scene where we have to watch Hollywood cover his Cadillac with a polka dot car cup. I don't understand. But they go to the headquarters of this other department store, and when Andrew McCarthy's trying to shake these dudes down, his girlfriend flips out and she's like, I'm going to destroy that mannequin. And then it's a weird chase scene where he's chasing her and all the other guys, James Spader and the security guard, they're all chasing him down into the basement. Like you said, they have a giant. It is the biggest shredder. Dude. Why do they have? What's the purpose of this?
I don't know.
Did you also notice there's a guy in charge of this shredder?
Jackson Joe jumps in and at the end.
He's so great because it's the most tense moment of this movie. And it takes the guy 20 minutes just to walk over and hit the button that turns it. And also, I don't know if you noticed this, but when they start up the shredder and she's going to throw her mannequin in, he walks out of the office and he's pulling his pants up, buckling them. This movie's so stupid. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Oh, but when they try to put her in the shredder, though,
and there's a conveyor belt that feeds this shredder. It's elaborate.
Oh my God. Oh, I thought I imagined that shredder. I thought this could not really be this movie. I just wanted to end and I'm imagining it just gets shredded. It does. So she is so close to getting shredded, our sweet mannequin Emmy. And this is when she comes alive. And she comes alive for everyone to see. for everyone to see.
No reason at all.
Well, we don't even. There is a reason. The reason is because her love for her and their love for each other is so intense that it's you feel it in the moment that she might.
But that's not a reason.
It's not.
She never says that. She doesn't say the only way.
And they don't show it. They don't. She doesn't say it, and they don't show it. Like they could, if we had seen what we had said, if you had seen him making her, putting on the finishing touches to see, wow, this is a real work of art. If we had seen them even together making their art together, you're like these windows and doing them, and this is something they need for each other. You would see that. Oh, this is a connection that is. Outstands the test of time. Outstands
like a pottery seed, like in Ghost. I could.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They just like. Beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't see any of that. We just see now he's grabbed her wooden hand. It's now become a. And P.S. Are mannequins?
I don't know if mannequins are made of wood. They put them in
the shredder, and they go apart like they're wood. But
I guess it's just plastic.
That's what I thought. So why wouldn't they
into these very sharp pieces? I guess.
Wouldn't they try to burn? There's so many better ways than a giant.
There's no shredder in the basement of a department store that looks anything like this.
Just like there's no basement in the Alamo, there is no shredder in department store.
Although it makes me think that Pee Wee Herman may have designed this elaborate shredder. So then finally, after she saved this doofus, turns the shredder off.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when everything comes to a head, where all the bad guys bust in. And why is Estelle Getty suddenly there? It's like she blinks into existence in this basement to basically tell the police to arrest everyone?
Yeah. She's the one that says, that's basically all she's there for.
For what?
For trying to sabotage her business, I think.
Mm-hmm. Does she have proof of this? Because she just showed up and clearly there's no evidence that they even stole a mannequin because this is a real person now.
I think she does give a reason. Really
all right.
fast.
Okay.
She does kind of say, like, arrest them for, being dum-dums. I think it's like and then.
That sounds about right.
You're right. So, don't they look? They're like, well, where is she? Where is she? And she's like, I'm right here, the mannequin. Aren't they like, well, where's the mannequin?
She doesn't even say it. It's the security guard that's like,
oh,
she's
yeah,
the mannequin.
Like,
and
then he goes crazy like,
take him to the asylum, boys.
Yeah.
And they just drag this guy out.
But meanwhile, who is this chick? Where did she come from now that he's all of a sudden with this chick?
It doesn't matter, Jamie. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess Hollywood knows. At one point, Hollywood does spray a bunch of guys with a fire hose, which is entertaining.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh.
It's so ridiculous. Because then
ridiculous?
they get married in the storefront window. But first they're all standing still. And I'm like, oh my God, did they all turn into mannequins for some reason? Because I could see that happening.
Is this what's it? Yeah.
But no, then they turn around. Hollywood's officiating. They all smile and freeze frame. The end.
The end.
Nothing's going to stop us now.
Yep, nothing's going to stop this mannequin and this sculptor.
Nothing but Mannequin 2 on the move.
Oh, jeez.
Which I've never seen. But
me neither.
It's a Christy Swanson mannequin. I don't know. I might have to check that out. Hollywood's back. He's in it.
Hollywood is back. He does. Do you think Spader's back? If Spader's back, maybe they've got you.
There's no way. There's no way. He did it once. That was enough.
Would you recommend this movie? Just say yes or no.
I don't know. I kind of had fun watching it. Like, I kind of feel bad saying it because it's a terrible movie. This is a terrible movie.
It's awful.
But
you had a good time.
It's so bad and it's so misguided, and I don't think it was intentional. I kind of had fun with it. I'd say if you've never seen it, maybe check it out. If you remember it being good or entertaining, you're probably wrong. Like I don't know if it's worth seeing again, but go ahead.
I had seen it before, I think, but there were huge chunks that I just forgot about. So I had seen enough to know that it was entertaining. Seeing it again, I was like, oh, this is terrible. This is so terrible. So I guess I'm with you. If you've never seen it, maybe watch it and you'll be mildly entertained by just goes on, like what it is. But if you've seen it before and you have a good memory of it, just keep that good memory.
So, Jamie, do you have any recommendations?
I do. It was hard to think of a recommendation for this movie because I couldn't think of what movie was really like this movie.
There's no movies like this movie.
No.
Well, I mean, Xanadu, but we've already discussed
Well, that was exactly, like, Xanadu was the first one. I was like, oh, it's like Xanadu. The movie I would recommend is Lars and the Real Girl with of course, with Ryan Gosling, who does a great job. And I think actually, speaking of Academy Awards, I think that movie won an Academy Award for screenplay. I think for Best Original Screenplay. I think whenever
Lars and
it
the
came
Real
out.
Girl?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it did.
You could be right.
Yeah.
I haven't watched an Academy Award since 2000.
Yeah, exactly. What do you know?
I don't know anything.
What is yours? What would be yours?
But that is a good movie. I will second that recommendation, but I'll make my own.
Yeah, please.
And you could watch the 1980 version of this movie or the 2012 version because they're both pretty good. And it's called Maniac. And it's a horror movie about a guy with mommy issues who murders women and then scalps them and puts their hair on mannequins. In his apartment. And the newer version stars Elijah Wood as the killer.
Oh, I bet that's a good Maniac.
Yeah, because he is the most troubling of individuals. That guy is so terrifying looking.
He does have these eyes that just...
It's this weird, adorable, like, menacing... He's a scary looking dude.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. And I could see him then scalping it. Yeah, this would be a... All right.
Oh my God, Mannequin. That just took it out of me.
It does. It will. It'll just rob you for a minute. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. So, Jamie, in 2 weeks. So, here's something that I kind of forgot about. Our third episode was 3 Men and a Baby. Our fourth episode was Rocky IV. This was unintentional. We did not mean to have episodes with the numbers of the episodes
related to
titles.
But look at that.
But our next episode is our 48th episode.
Yeah.
So we're going to watch 48 Hours.
Hey!
Eddie Murphy, Nick Nolte.
Loving it. Eddie.
I don't know. There's other people in it, I'm sure.
There's people, yeah.
That's all I got. So, I don't know. Jamie.
48 Hours, 48th episode. I'm excited.
I'm excited. I can't believe we're close to 50.
I just like that kind of correlation. That's crazy to me.
That is crazy.
It's 2 years. Have we been doing this for 2 years?
It's almost 3. No. Sorry, it's almost 2. No, wait.
Okay, I was like, okay, I take that.
2?
I think it's almost 2.
It's almost 2.
It's like, you can add a year. But
I like how I just jumped a year.
Yeah, you're like, it's 16 years we've been doing this shit. Yeah, 2 years. Wow.
I'm excited.
Kudos. Me too.
Like, a buddy cop movie? We haven't explored the buddy cop genre
I'm
yet.
excited for buddy cops. I want a buddy cop.
There will be plenty of uncomfortable racism that we have to sort through.
Well, and there's Nick Nolte. There's plenty of uncomfortable Nick Nolte to sort through.
Yeah, he just kind of growls his way. I'll practice my Nick Nolte.
I'm excited.
Is that good? That's very terrible.
Right. Did you throw up in your own mouth just then and try to talk? Yep. Is that what happened?
God damn it. I don't know. Maybe you could work on your Eddie Murphy because I'll have this Nick Nolte down in 2 weeks. Okay, all right, good. We're done. We don't even have to do the episode now.
No. We got our invitations down. We're good to go.
Oh, my God.
All right.
I guess we're done.
Well, this is happening.
All right. So everybody, rate and review us on iTunes. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, all that great stuff. Yeah. And we will see you again in 2 weeks when we talk about 48 Hours, which I think also had a sequel. I think we're doing 2 sequels in a row here, or 2 sequel spawns. Oh my God,
no,
I don't know.
Not the Spawn, they're original. They're the original, right?
Right. Mannequin is the original Mannequin, and 48 Hours is the original 48 Hours, and that's what we'll be talking about. I hope James Spader's in it. We got to hunt down more James Spader movies now.
Yeah, I think that's really what this is about here. This is showing your love, your fandom for Jay Spade.
I never knew. And I'm like 35 years late to this party.
Such a wide range.
All right, everybody, we will talk to you in 2 weeks. Bye.
All right, good night. Bye.
Looking in your eyes, I see a paradise. This world that I found is too good to be true. Standing here beside you, want so much to give you this love in my heart that I'm feeling for you. Let them say we're crazy. I don't care about that. Put your hand in my hand, baby. Don't ever look back. Let the world around us just fall apart. Baby, we can make it if we're heart to heart. And we can build this thing together, standing strong forever. Nothing's gonna stop us now. And if this world runs out of lovers, we'll still have each other. Nothing's gonna stop us. Nothing's gonna stop us now. I'm so glad I found you. I'm not gonna lose you. Whatever.
Hollywood, come and get me, Hollywood.